Anybody remember that guy's name?
No.
Joseph.
Here. Charles Lyell.
Oh yeah.
Lyell. So okay, now whoa. Tell me how he was biased.
Because they told him that the thing was like, the thing got started by like a foot each year. Was it a foot? Three. Oh yeah. And he said it was more like one. Yeah.
And he was wrong.
And why? Who was he biased against?
Against the people.
The people.
Say that again, Mary. Okay.
We the people.
Now we'll do one more example of bias in science.
That big round rock in the bear claws, the legend said that the bear came up because he was hungry.
I would say that's probably more of a cultural effect, which culture can cause bias.
But like some believe
I understand.
think and then other people don't. For example, this
Now
bear-
hold on. Yvonne has given a very good example. I talked about that it's called Devil's Tower, and it looks like a big tree that looks like it's been clawed by a bear. First of all, hold on. There are people who believe, it would probably at one time people believe that it was actually clawed by a big super bear or whatever. People, that's a supernatural explanation. We don't actually believe that in science. People are biased against that idea because they don't use supernatural in science, but also that's probably a cultural story that's been handed down from generation to generation. So a lot of these stories like that have all three, or have several of these ideas in it. What's another example of scientists being biased? Because that's not actually scientists who come up with that idea.
Okay, Aristotle and that Theodore or whatever his name is.
Theophrastus?
Yeah, that kid. Well, like the dude you said, like other people didn't believe his like theories or ideas.
Oh, are you talking about particles or animals?
No.
Because Aristotle was in both those stories.
I think it was particles.
Okay, then you're talking about Democritus. Aristotle and Democritus.
Yeah, that did.
How do you know so many names?
I know.
Because I've learned about this stuff a lot.
Well, okay, like everybody didn't
Hold on, now what's your point?
Because people didn't believe his idea because of Aristotle's like social status and
People, that's a key thing. She said because of Aristotle's social status, they went with Aristotle. Now, fast forward 2,000 years to when they're trying to figure out DNA. Who they believe instead of Watson and Crick? Well, not the
The other guy.
good
Well,
demo.
anybody remember the other guy's name?
Democratic.
No, hold on. Okay, we got Aristotle and Democritus 2,000 years ago. And now we got Watson and Crick who lived in like the early 1900s. Okay, so that's not that long ago. And they were trying to figure out DNA. Somebody else was trying to figure out DNA too. His name was Linus Pauling. Linus Pauling won a Nobel Prize. When you win a Nobel Prize, what do people think of you?
You're very smart.
Okay, and so people agreed with Linus Pauling's idea about DNA and not Watson and Crick. But you know who was accepted today? Watson and Crick. Go ahead.
Isn't there like a word for that? Something about their background that they believe their no, not that. Something about their is that one word that like is, it sounds like about your background and makes you like cool and all, but like
Reputation.
yeah, that word.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
That is the word. Alright, now people, I do want to draw your attention to one other thing about bias. Not only do we have bias about evaluating other people's ideas, but when we were looking at that feathery thing, the Chinese hacky sack, some of you called it blue, some of you called it purple. Making observations we can be biased about. Okay? What's another thing we've learned about how science works? Yep. That is a science idea, not an idea about how science works.
About that fire thing.
I have a feeling that's science, not how science works.
Oh, you got another one.
Hold on. In what ways do scientists have to be creative?
You have to think about what they're doing. Like, you have to imagine, like how it would look like and how it would like act if like it was like a plant or an animal.
Good.
Like when Albert Einstein imagined that beam of light,
Good.
and to be creative, think of what made that up.
How else do scientists have to be creative? So they have to be creative to come up with ideas. What else did it have to be creative with?
Observation, like you have to imagine, like let's say there's a dead animal, just trying to figure out what happened to it and how did it happen to it.
Okay. Yvonne?
Experiments.
Why do experiments take creativity?
Because you have to make us experiments and then do them.
Okay. What's another thing about how science works that we've talked about? People, talk with your partners. I'll give you a minute. Accelerate. We gotta come up with more.
Repeat it twice. Lies, more lies, fight. Maya.
All right, back up here. What do you got? I'm gonna leave that with creativity. People, focus. Theories and laws. That's a big one. Which we'll come back to some of these to explain them. What? That would be an example of how science works, but that's not really an idea about how science works.
Discuss with each other.
Collaborate.
What did you say? I like that word better. Collaborate/work together. What else?
Cycles, like not the water cycle or that, but I mean cycles like in the book that picture with the different.
Talking about method.
So you're talking about no scientific method? Like that's what that picture was.
Yes.
It was that one method thing that had like a bunch of lines.
Yeah, and we use that drawing to talk about how there's no one way to do science, right?